we go. Finally.
Okay. Says you.
Fucking
That's what I said.
Oh, sorry for my cursing. Sorry. Bing, bang, boom, bada, dum, da, bum. We're here. Finally.
Okay. We should have opening credits. Don't you think?
We should.
What if we had opening credits?
I gotta. We'll have to. I'll have to make it. It'll be like what?
Hey.
We need an open, like a cool open where we're like
We do.
going around corners and spying.
Better than you going, I need to press the live button. That's definitely better. A better way to get people motivated. There's 36 people watching, so we have to make sure that we need to roll a little more professional. Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday.
This is it, kid.
Tuesday.
You got to become a supporter. You want professional?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go
That's
ahead.
right. That's right. We're still waiting for the arrival of the proper webcam. So until such time, you've got this. But I think we're looking pretty good today.
It's okay.
The sun is shining. Here in Portland, Oregon. It's actually about 75 degrees today.
It's
nice.
An
anomaly. This happens every year, every March or February. We get like this spring tease for like 2 or 3 days, and then it goes back to the rainy and gross. And so it's always. Do you ever see the movie Private Benjamin with Goldie Hawn? So I live by a lot of the adage. I love that movie so much. It's a very Gen X woman touchstone kind of movie, but it's one of those things where like she's marching in the rain and it's dreary and she's miserable and everybody hates her. And she's just like, I want to wear my sandals. I want to go out to lunch. I want to be normal again.
Funny.
That's what this day is like. It's like I want to wear my sandals, but then I would need a pedicure, and that's months ago. And then I just want to be normal again, I think is an underlining theme of what we're all living in. Because what world are we living in where our national security secrets are just being shared with anyone with a phone number on Signal, apparently? And it's like I said to our friend Hal yesterday, why didn't Mike Waltz just call up Jeffrey Goldberg and be like, dude, you're on speaker, and put it down? Because he might as well have, right?
Right. It's so embarrassing. It's the
Devlin,
clown show.
What the hey is happening?
It's horrible. It's a clown show. It's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment, but it's also dangerous. These people are unfit. And as we were talking right before the show, they are, just because we caught them this time doesn't mean that this is the first time. They've been doing this. This is how they've been running business here, running the government. On their Signal, on their iPhones, on their personal iPhones. And the other thing that pisses me off is that not only are they making us all unsafe, these are the same people that are like, everyone must stop remote working because, you suck when you're out there remote working, because they hate workers. That's what it's about. They want to beat people.
They hate everything.
Yes, exactly. But where's Pete Hegseth? They should be in a skiff. Working, not on a
with
beach at a
Dave
bar.
In the chat is in a skiff. Yeah.
Exactly, but to say that they can remote
be in
work.
Office.
Right?
You know where they should be? They should be with Pete Hegseth in his rec room basement mixing drinks.
That's it.
And with like on a Thursday afternoon when the regular people are working. None of them should have their jobs.
No.
Everybody in that chat except for Jeffrey Goldberg should lose their jobs.
Right.
Because, and here's the thing, be grateful it was someone from the Atlantic who has the wherewithal to be like, shit, I shouldn't be seeing this.
Who's not a traitor.
Exactly. Right, and had the presence of mind to take screenshots and be like, I'm just going to back out slowly, kind of like Homer Simpson into the hedges, because it's like, not my monkeys, not my circus. So... But look
at these.
The existence. No, I know.
With the emojis, the fire, punch, America,
small group.
What the fuck?
What? The team in MAL did a great job as well. What does that mean? That means Mar-a-Lago. What does that mean?
Wow,
Who is
the
it, Mar-a-Lago? Is that what it
hole.
means? Is that Mar-a-Lago?
Probably, yeah.
Because
MAL.
I'm pretty sure. And so what is that? What team is that? Mar-a-Lago doing national security stuff?
Right.
And where are they doing it, from the buffet room? Oh, maybe they're in the room with all of the documents that Alina Habba brought back.
Probably.
I don't know. Because she was like, I moved the infamous boxes. So...
he's done that before. Remember when he was ordering strikes in the middle of the dining room with all the assholes around him?
And your team.
That's
from
why
Rubio.
it's a spy
Oh my God.
magnet. Mara Moron. They have caught spies.
Oh
Of
my
course, it's a
God.
spy hole. It's
Oh
like
my
you
God.
can't even imagine how many spies are there. They're probably high fiving each other in the halls.
This is so crazy. It's like I am also, I guess I can divulge this now. I'm in my own Signal group that's invite only, but all we do is share our Wordle connections and strand scores. It's all we do. But it's a big deal. It's a very exclusive group, and we don't want that information getting out. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get hacked
by some
now.
so-called journalists might
I don't know.
Aren't they tedious?
It's insane. But if I had somehow been accidentally added to that chat, I mean, imagine the fun we could have. I would have been like, "Hey guys, are we sure this is a good idea?
Yeah,
to be like doing this? Are you sure?
What?
Like,
maybe just put some emojis in there, like worried emoji.
Is this like cool with Daddy Vlad? And do the
yes.
That
what
emoji,
does Vlad think?
The oops emoji with that, or I mean, I would have maybe have done a little before I left the room. At least I would have been like, "Hey, thanks for the viral content, you guys. Peace out." And then everyone would be like, "What just happened?"
Yes.
So
did you see his response though? What? You saw. I mean, I'm sure. Did you see Pete Hegseth's response to?
Like it was no big.
Well, he was like, "Here, where is it?"
Well, they're all acting like it's no big deal.
Yeah,
which is
here it is.
Ridiculous, because they would be clutching their pearls to the point of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, I don't have it. Jeez.
If anything like that happened during the Biden administration.
Right.
You know that.
Well,
you know that for facts. So
exactly. And the hypocrisy is bottomless, but Hegseth was bashing, of course, the journalist, Goldberg.
Well,
right?
Of course he was. And we talked about this on our last show, and this is what they do. Part of their distraction tactics is to blame the messenger / questioner.
Exactly. That's all they have.
Rather than addressing the issue.
One-trick ponies.
And maybe pay attention to what's happening before you comment on it in a public place. DC Drano, dumb fuck, who tweeted into the public space that it's really weird, or something like some weird coincidence, that they had the congressional hearing today as soon as this came out. And it's like, they had the hearing because this came out, you moron.
Right. But they had a hearing scheduled, though, they were already scheduled to talk to Tulsi and someone
about
else.
Something completely different. But now it's like, we just did what now?
It's just a happy accident.
And lying John Ratfog is like, everything is fine. And John Ossoff is like, this is a security breach. It's like, no, it's not. Everything's fine.
Right.
And again,
and they just lie about it.
We're not letting you rewrite the history that literally is happening right now.
That you can't
rewrite it as it's happening.
We have the script, but that's what they do. And that's why when Hegseth was going on about how Goldberg, he's a guy, he spread all these lies like Russia, 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 and suckers and losers, and
where is Steve Witkoff right now? Russia, Russia, Russia.
Yeah.
Is where Steve Witkoff is right now. And he was
none
in
of those,
that chat.
And none of those are hoaxes. Russia, Russia, Russia is not a hoax.
It's real.
Exactly. So a lot of people went to jail for a hoax, and neither is suckers and losers. Right. I mean, General Kelly came out and verified. I mean, I believe an actual, flag officer over the drunken DUI hire when he's talking about, Trump did say he called those who gave their lives for this country suckers and losers. I was there. So there's no reason for him to lie about that. And he wouldn't. Anyway, he has honor.
No. Honor, actually, and The Atlantic is one of those publications that we can still trust. It's very straightforward, and they don't present a biased take on the news. Right. They're not The Hill, they're not Politico. They're definitely a reputable publication, and Jeffrey Goldberg's reputation precedes him. He's a trustworthy journalist. And this happened to him. This wasn't a third party who came in like, hey, Jeff, look what happened. This happened to him specifically. He's not making it up, in that he has the receipts. And what makes this all so on brand for MAGA is that this is the same week that Donald Trump revoked security clearances from Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, like all of these other people. And so the security clearances are revoked from people who should have security clearance, and security clearance still exists for people who shouldn't have it. If anybody, every single person except for Jeffrey Goldberg, everybody in that chat should lose security clearance. They should actually give it to Jeffrey Goldberg, because at least he didn't share. And, you know, like, he's not the one who, like, he didn't beg for an invite. He didn't, you know, he didn't make a signal chat request and get added by Mike Waltz.
Yeah.
You know, hey guys, let me in. It was not that.
They should, though. I don't know why. Why did he leave, though? That's one thing that I understand. I guess, but yeah, he should have stayed.
He had enough. He was like, well, you know, I have a deadline to meet. I better jump here. But there are questions like, why would Mike Waltz have Jeffrey Goldberg's phone number in the first place? Mike Waltz is ultra MAGA, like super up Trump's alimentary canal. So why would he have the direct phone number for the Atlantic's, one of their top journalists? That's a weird question. Like, why not Maggie Haberman? You would think Maggie Haberman might accidentally be added to that chat.
Right.
Or someone who's, you know, friendly to the Trump campaign.
I'm sure they do.
Sean Hannity or Tucker Carlson being added,
you know, and that
would
just
make
goes
sense, but then we would never know about it.
Right. And that just goes to show you the hypocrisy, because obviously he has his number because he's not a discreditable or whatever. What's the word? Or he's an actual journalist, not a so-called journalist. And clearly,
he's
maybe
not
he's one of the
puffy-eyed
leakers.
Boyfriend.
Oh God, I know. But these people leak. You understand? They call up the journal. That's why they get these on background stories, because
this time they just removed the leaker.
Right. He removed
the journalist
himself.
Is the leaker.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen in the future? These people, mark my words, that this is all going to end badly for all the maggots. Not just this incident, the timeline we're on. It's going to suck. A lot of people are going to get hurt, but at the end of it, they're going to find themselves on Morning Joe saying, I knew better, but like all of these maggots that finally turn around and see the light. That's going to be them. They're going to be like, well, I finally came to my senses.
No thanks. I'm not interested in any MAGA apology tour.
Exactly.
That ship sailed forever and ever ago.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, like this is finally the kind of story that should dominate the news cycle.
Yes.
Because what we're seeing, aside from this blatant just ineptitude across the board with every single one of his fully irresponsible, illegitimate, inexperienced hires, is that we're seeing Democrats immediately respond strongly.
Good.
Like, you're doing what now? You are not doing that because this is illegal. What you did this is treason.
Yes.
This is absolutely against the law. And every single thing that is transpiring here is against the law. And for them to sit in Congress and lie to their senators is also a violation of the law.
And the misspellings too,
reasons.
Right? Everything they do. Well, one of the things that he said that they were writing, they were misspelled too. Of course, principal.
Oh my God!
The principal, is misspelled. Like, because they're ignorant. These people, they're not. They have no intellectual curiosity, and
never.
So they don't read. They think they know everything by osmosis and through their gut. They think they know better than everyone. I mean, this unearned arrogance that they have, which allows them to lecture the rest of us on all manner of topics that they have no clue about, is really goddamn tedious, frankly. And like their excuses. Mm-hmm.
And like they won't show up and do their town halls because they're cowards. The Republicans are cowards. And if they show up, they get yelled at, which happened a few days ago in Washington State with the Republican rep. But I mean, what we're seeing a lot of vocal pushback from Democrats. I mean, Bernie and AOC are out there holding rallies that are attracting crowds larger than Trump ever did on the campaign. You don't have to be a Bernie bro to appreciate the effort, right? Mm-hmm. Any Democrat, even if you're a Democratic Socialist or however Bernie's identifying, I don't know, independent, whatever, those are they get attention. They get the media to come out and cover them. Wherever AOC goes, MAGA gets triggered and they follow. So the media covers that. I don't care how it gets covered but it gets covered.
Yep.
So because the media is not covering any protests, and it's not really, they're not giving any legitimacy to any sort of democratic messaging,
right?
Because it's being drowned out.
True.
Especially on Twitter by Elon, because he tweets like 10,000 times
right.
a day,
and
or
he's
whatever.
Tweeting though. As speaking of the rallies, I wrote an article about it yesterday about him. His desperation is showing because Musk is retweeting lies, of course, about Bernie and AOC's rally, saying, "Oh, this is all paid protesters."
Bro, again, that
same
old
yep.
trope. And we just have to keep reiterating. Nobody should have to be paid to do the right thing.
Yeah, and they're not.
They're
and
the
if they were,
who,
sign me up. I
right?
can use the paycheck.
Still waiting on the Soros check from
exactly.
2016. But how many times during the 2024 campaign or even the 2020 campaign did we see people sharing screenshots from Craigslist for people to come out to Trump rallies, and they would be paid a certain amount of money per hour or a flat rate to
stay
show up
for
and hold
15
signs
minutes
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, make sure you stay long enough, and you get, we have enough so we can take a picture, and then you can leave whenever you want. And saw them leaving the campaign rallies in droves. Mm-hmm. And so for them, it's all about the show. There have always been style over substance, and that starts with Trump and the way he even kicked off his campaign by descending a gold escalator and putting on a show where he was belittling every community he possibly could to declare himself as the most racist piece of shit candidate in history. Mm-hmm. So again, and it's all, that was how it all began, and this is where we are as a result of the slow boil that has recently, the heat has really been turned up lately. And so better late than never that the Democrats are pushing back and speaking out. And
I guess they're getting the message, right, from the people. People are kind of sick of it, sick of their weakness.
Republicans are showing up to Republican town halls to yell at Republicans. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And we have to, and watching Democrats going into places where Republicans won't is a big deal. Eric Swalwell is doing it as well. And that's something that Hal and I talked about it yesterday, because, he wants to do, in a Political Voices tour with John, Fugelsang, and Frangela. Mm-hmm. And I was, and me,
Good
whoever.
Idea.
And we were saying, we need to go to the red states, because
Why
we know
not?
where our
Exactly.
audience is already. Call it a town hall tour. Go places I've never been to Boise.
Good idea.
That'd be an interesting experience. Go check out Boise. Go to the Dakotas. I've never been to either of the Dakotas or Wyoming or, any, like your major red states. I've never been to Louisiana. I've never been to New Orleans. These are places that we could go and have discussions with people that I wouldn't know. I've never been to Mississippi.
It's a good idea.
These are places that we could reach that Republicans are too afraid to go, because they're afraid of getting yelled at, and they're afraid of being asked questions, which, as you know, is my favorite thing in the world. I love asking them questions because it's how right. So I don't know if you saw the show with Hal yesterday, but
I didn't.
I'm so
sorry.
jealous.
I usually watch.
It's cool, but it's there. But Hal has applied for White House press room credentials.
Oh.
So that he could go to an official White House press briefing and ask a question.
They're not going to give it to him.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
They're not going to give it to him.
You don't know. He doesn't have as bad of a reputation as, say, me.
And
I or either one of us, right? Hal is great in that he may be all over, PVN 6 days a week doing 2 shows a day.
I know.
But he's still flying under the radar. He's not on Twitter anymore, which is where most of the Republicans are gathered. And so they don't really pay attention to him as much anymore.
He might.
He could possibly fly in under the radar, where I'm probably on a list of, never let this woman ever anywhere near the White House.
I'm sure. Especially all your calls to Nancy Mace. You're definitely.
Well, they still go unanswered. I still have no answers. She continues to tweet her bullshit, and I'm like, wow, you have time for this? But still nothing. But in the interim, I want you to know I achieved some special victories over the weekend. Andrew Tate had already blocked me on Twitter a while back, but now his brother Tristan insta-blocked me over the weekend.
Nice.
For calling him a rapist.
You're getting these scalps, baby.
Thank you. And I'm also very proud to add to my MAGA block collection, Howard Lutnick, ladies and gentlemen, the Commerce Secretary.
He blocked you?
Me on yes, which I think is illegal, because I don't know. But I called him a capo because he is.
You gotta put this on your, you just gotta say, just get the scalps and put them up there. Trump.
I tweet them all the time.
Yeah,
I have
it's
a
amazing.
collage of all my MAGA blocks, and
I love
that
it.
alone should have gotten me a book deal by now, but no.
Yeah.
Still waiting. The book deal eludes me. I don't know why. And it's weird. The last 2 months have been really the worst sales for my book. I don't know why people don't want to read a book right now. You should all read a book. It's a great escape into our recent past with no politics. It's just right now. You know what? It triggers the MAGA kids on Twitter whenever I tweet about my book, because they assume it's something political, because MAGA doesn't read, right?
They don't.
Right. So they don't. So and so they like to make fun of my book when they've never read a book, let alone written one. But one of my recent Substack, I think my most recent Substack on my Substack at taradublin.substack.com, which everyone should sign up and pay for, and sign up for Tara Devlin's, which is it's at Tara. Is it Tara Buster? Right.
Well, yeah, I'm at
Tara Buster on Substack.
Yes,
so
there you go. There you go.
But as I pointed out that the good guys need a win. We need all the wins we can get, because this is the good guys versus the bad guys. Today we saw Democrats' good guys stepping up against the bad guys. But anything that makes them mad is a win, right? All acts of resistance, all pushback that make them acknowledge that there's truth they don't like is an act of resistance. Right. All of that adds up. So, it's if I can sell more books than Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's a good goal.
But you don't have these CPAC and organizations like that buying your book in bulk.
No,
that's the thing.
I have
that's
to
their
honestly
racket.
Come by myself. I know.
I
have
that.
this
Yes.
weird thing where I want to honestly come by my sales and get a proper book deal, publishing deal. Cameron Crowe loves this book, and he's currently reading the sequel. And Ellen Barkin loves this book.
Oh, wow, that's great.
I could drop a lot of famous people. Who has this book? Mark Hamill. I gave this book to Mark Hamill when I was at Sexy Liberal in November in Los Angeles, and he did Sexy Liberal there. I gave it to Mark Hamill. I gave it to Henry Winkler when he was in Portland. I know. I gave it to a lot to but none of those people make TV shows or own.
You got to get it into
houses.
A producer. We need to get this option, for God's sake.
Right. That's exactly it, because it would be an amazing streaming series, which is what the bulk of my readers, all the real ones, say about it. So, but what triggers MAGA so much is when I brag about getting to another sales goal. When I hit 1,000 copies sold, which I thought was a big deal. I thought that was a big deal, selling 1,000 copies by myself. But I mean,
by yourself. That's good.
By myself. Like, if Stephen King only sold 1,000 books, that would be considered a flop. But for me, by myself, without being represented by anybody or have a regular publishing deal, I felt really good about it. Of course, Mog is like, only 1,000. I'm like, well, again, tell me about a book that you've ever read that doesn't have pictures in it, and then we can have a discussion.
Let them write a book, please.
Right. So this is the long way around for me to say, hey, everybody, go to taradublinrocks.com and buy a copy of The Sound of Settling. It's available on Kindle as well as in paperback, and it makes a lovely gift for a reader in your life. And also, it's just a really nice escape from this that we have to face. We all have to do that. Mm-hmm. We all have to do this, and we all have to face reality, unlike the MAGA cult who live with their heads in the sand. But what I'm saying is, when you're doing your self-care and you're taking your breaks from this to fortify yourself and reload and get your gas tank back up to full, one of the things that you should do is just look at stuff that has nothing to do with anything that we're living in. Like I watched 1923 because it's set in 1923.
Yeah, I know.
It has nothing to do with
I gotta watch that.
I love it so much. Oh, God, it's so good.
I will. I'm waiting for the whole thing to finish.
I'm obsessed.
Because one day I'm going to spend a Sunday, escaping.
Right. I would say start now, because all of season 1 is done, and now we're into season 2, a few episodes into season 2, and you can spend a Sunday just getting all caught up. Fully recommend. But what I'm saying is, anything that triggers them because they're so petty and thin-skinned, like Donald Trump getting that portrait removed in Colorado because it looked like Kyle Rittenhouse. It looked like a cartoon.
Who cares? Don't you have anything better to do? But no.
All the things. Like, he's so worried about that, and he's taken over the Kennedy Center because he doesn't want woke stuff at the Kennedy Center. Like,
he ruined
find my book.
Center.
It'll make MAGA mad if I'm like, hey, I sold 2,000 copies. I sold 3,000 copies. I sold 5,000. Yep. I don't know what it takes to impress anybody, but what I do know is every time I tweet about my book, there's some MAGA mean girl going, oh, this book is trash. Really? What's it about? Right. Oh, libtard. You don't know what it's about. It's a rock and roll love story. It's inspired by Dave Grohl having a crush on me back in 2001. Nothing ever happened. Very glad about that. And also, coincidentally, we're talking about this on the anniversary of losing Taylor Hawkins, which he died 3 years ago today. And so that makes me Foo Fightery.
I'm sorry.
Sad. And, you know, it's a rough moment to be a Foo Fighters fan just because Dave Grohl is going through it. And he needs a redemption arc at some point. But anyway, the whole point of all of this is help me trigger MAGA by selling books.
Right.
Because my existence triggers them. Anything I tweet triggers them. They don't like me because I tell the truth. They don't like you because you tell the truth. They don't like anybody who tells the truth. They don't. So we got to keep supporting each other.
As Elon Musk is case in point. You know, him tweeting about MAGA, about Bernie and AOC's rallies, how they're all, it's all paid protesters, and then also GPS. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. He's threatened by the message, which is the truth, that we shouldn't live, and that the American people don't want to live in an oligarchy, whether we like it or not. I mean, we are effectively living in one now, but this is waking people up. And the American people, no one voted for Elon Musk, for Christ's sake. I hate him.
Let's keep reiterating that.
Literally, I hate him.
Your latest Substack, by the way, is great.
Oh, and, thank you.
Calling Doge, what is it, the Department of Gazillionaire Extortionists?
Something like that.
Embezzlers.
And that's what the Democrats should call it, not Doge, you know, because that's what drives me crazy about the Democrats.
There's Kyle Tharp wrote about that too on Kyle Tharp's Substack. He wrote about don't call it Doge, don't lean into their dumb.
You're just validating it.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I love
call it if you're gonna call it.
Is like
if you're gonna call it anything, if you have to call it Doge, say it fake Doge, but call it the Department of Gazillionaires embezzlement, or something like that.
Make up its thing.
You know,
kind of like
that's what it is.
Like Adam Parkamenko and Sam Youngman have Today's Big Stuff, and they always have a different nickname for JD Vance.
Oh,
you know, they're like jerk off duty pants. That's what JD stands for. Or they make up the funniest nicknames for him, and that's also a way to resist them is by constantly making fun of them, because Donald Trump can't stand to be laughed at or made fun of.
He's the worst,
and so and I
they
think
are
the days
all
of
the
going,
worst. I'm sorry, I'm just having a moment.
Right? The days of taking the high road are long gone.
Yeah.
And you can meet them where they are and still be smart in the way that you go about it.
But
and that's
the time
like my mission is to make America smart again.
Yes.
Right? Oh, so MJ says douche. I have been pronouncing it douche. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Douche
that's
is
good. I
douche,
see.
You can call it doji style. Call it I don't know.
Douche.
I don't know. Douche.
I
like
hate
that.
him so much.
And also, anytime you can call Elon Musk a ketamine-cooked Nazi, that just makes me happy.
Yes.
And by the way,
he's
now threatening to sue. You know, he's saying he's going to sue anybody who calls him a Nazi, and I call him a Nazi all day, every day on Twitter.
Good.
But Jamal Bowman went on CNN and called him a Nazi, so now he's going to sue Jamal Bowman. I'm like, can I get in on that class action?
Right.
Let's go,
yeah.
Jamal. Jamal is awesome. Now, I actually was wearing this exact shirt. I met Jamal Bowman a couple of years ago when I was still working for Occupy Democrats, and we did this Just Majority bus tour where we were talking about social, a lot of
what does your shirt say? I can't see the whole thing.
It says, be a better human. Let me just put my booties up. Be a better human.
Nice.
Which is true. Be a better human. But I met him on that tour when we rolled into New York, and it was about expanding the Supreme Court and also expanding access to reproductive rights. And so, but he and I did a TikTok together that I don't have TikTok anymore, but I can tweet it again. I can go through my Twitter and tweet it because it's that lives forever in there.
Stack as a short or something.
I shall. I'll go in there and get it taken care of. But basically, I told him who I was, and I had to tell him like a few times, like, who are you? What do you do? What are you doing? Because I told him about how I trigger Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. And he was having a beef with both of them at the time. And he was like, Tara Dublin triggers MAGA. I was like, yeah. It was great. So it's about being vocal and pushing back with the truth, which is why this show exists in the first place, aside from the fact that we almost have the same exact names. Right. So but it's pushing back with the truthful things, like it says in your Substack. Like, that's what they're doing. They're embezzling. They're extorting.
Yes, that's all it's about. They're not making government efficient. I mean, that's the whole thing. Because the American people, I mean, to say waste, fraud, and abuse, who doesn't hate waste, fraud, and abuse? But they have no verification, of course. We're not seeing the receipts here. All he's doing is firing people and making government not function, which is the goal, so they can privatize everything and also turn the American people against each other and have the American people not even expect anything from government, just like in the good old days called the Dark Ages. And that's what they're doing. They're dragging us back to that kind of system where you're just out here and you fall on hard times. You go to the church and beg for alms. There is no social safety net. There's no government does nothing for you. They call you into military service when you're needed, and that's it. And if you maybe you'll find a lord to serve, and he'll trickle some benefits on you, and that's what they're doing. That is what they are reestablishing. Exactly. This is supposed to be the antidote to that system. That's why I can't stand them. They go against everything.
Mad. Mm-hmm. And it's why I think everybody in MAGA should be forced to watch Hamilton, like in Clockwork Orange, where they're strapped to a chair with their eyes open, so they can hear everything that. I mean, obviously, it's dramatized and it's set to hip hop, and it's not a documentary, but it does accurately represent the struggle to create an America where every single kind of person could be free, every single one, free of oppression, free of religious oppression, free of a monarchy or an oligarchy, where they were free,
or an aristocracy. Exactly.
Exactly. And all through it, King George comes out and he's like, good luck. Like, do you know how hard it is to lead? And you're on your own. And when you're on your own, don't come crying to me when your people say they hate you. Like,
and that's what they were expecting. That's all
part of it. That's all part of it, though. And that Democrats continue to hold our own accountable when we see them falling on their faces, like they have continued to do with the Trump administration, although they're picking themselves up a little bit faster now. But we hold our leadership accountable. We're mad at Chuck Schumer for all of that last week, and we want him replaced, and we're not going to back down about that. We're really mad at John Fetterman. You want to stand up and get your picture taken with a war criminal? You get your picture taken. You're wearing a hoodie. I don't know.
He's really getting tedious here. Yeah,
He took a picture with Netanyahu.
Really? And
you get primaried now.
Well, just the fact,
Conor Lamb was right there.
Wow.
And that's I mean, frustrating. It's disappointing.
He is irritating how he doesn't ever put on a suit, I have to say. I mean, there is something about having a little bit of respect.
Decorum would be nice.
Yeah, like for your position. So in my opinion,
there's a big and tall shop in every mall.
Right, you don't walk around like mom called you up from the basement, for a minute, right?
Yeah, like, I get you want to be a man of the people, but put on some Dockers and a nice button down. At least. Get some slacks.
At least. Put on a shirt. Put on
how about long pants? Let's start with long pants and a shirt with buttons.
Exactly. It's not that hard.
When he was first running, I was like, do we need to get him some campaign Garanimals? Do you remember Garanimals when we were kids? And you would match the elephant shirt to the elephant tag pants, and you knew they matched.
That's right.
That's how you learned about matching as a child. And it's just like, come on. But in all seriousness, when you're getting down to what actually matters is what's being said. What is being said on the Senate floor and on the House floor? What are we looking at? What is it that we're not seeing? And we don't have strong enough representation in our leadership in the Senate. We need someone who's speaking against what we're seeing, like Elizabeth Warren, who's opening up an investigation into the Tesla commercial they had at the White House last week, because that is against the law.
Of course,
and a lot of other, violating the Hatch Act, or I don't know, a million other acts.
It is, and also, the whole degrading the office of the presidency, of course, like they do every day. Now they're selling, they're commercializing the egg roll at the White House.
Yes! I talked about that yesterday with Hal as
well. Oh, my God.
And that brands can buy sponsorships to the Easter egg roll for the first time ever. And you know why? I bet I know why. because they have to order eggs for the Easter egg roll,
True,
and
it's
those
gonna
eggs
be
are
more
expensive.
right,
and
right.
Donald Trump doesn't pay for anything out of his pocket because he's a cheap bastard.
Holy shit!
And
yeah,
so
you're right.
selling a sponsorship, so it's
Right.
like, welcome
It's too
to
much
the
money.
welcome
Yeah.
to the 2025 Easter egg roll, sponsored by Taco Bell. You know,
Exactly.
Extreme.
It's
It'll be
so
Extreme Mountain Dew. I don't know.
they're
Skull
so
presents the
goddamn.
Easter egg roll.
They're
It's
so
going to be
unfit.
NASCAR, but with bunny rabbits.
Right,
It's what it's going to
right.
be.
No, but you're
Kid Rock
100%
will
right
perform.
about the eggs.
He'll
I didn't think
perform.
about that. You're
Oh my
right.
God! That just came to me. It just came to me now.
Yeah.
And
It's too much
Kid Rock will
money.
be up on the balcony and performing
Right.
"Ba with the Ba, Ba with the Ba, da bang, da bang, bang." Thanks for being here. At the
You
Skull
poor thing.
Easter
You
egg
know that.
roll.
You know that song. Oh my lord.
Well,
I don't even
did
know
used to work
anything
in radio,
except for that.
well,
Oh right, you used
the
to.
kids
do,
may not know this, but I come from radio. Not that I ever had to play Kid Rock, thankfully, but I did come
Thank
from.
God.
I come from alternative radio, and so that's another reason why this
interesting.
book is so much fun, because there's a lot of early
Yeah.
2000s, late 90s musical references in it, because I was on alternative radio here,
This behind the scenes stuff, right?
and I was
mean,
on the radio from 2004 to 2009, and so like
So
dropped the name
you
of,
know your stuff. So it's
I
not
know my
like
stuff. And
yeah.
honestly, one of these days, I think Hal and I especially, we want to start like just a music podcast. Just the
I
two
know,
of
right?
us talking about music,
Yeah.
not allowed to bring in anything but no politics,
Right.
no nothing else. And just to get to sit around and talk about music with another music nerd,
Right.
which is a joy. That's
Yeah.
a joy for me to get like extra super nerdy. Like a couple of weeks ago here in Portland, this band came to town. It's a super group cover band of Michael Shannon, the actor, and Jason Narducci and John Worster, who play with Bob Mould's band. And they're on tour playing all of REM albums.
Oh wow.
And so they're currently playing the whole Fables of the Reconstruction album. And I went to college in Athens, Georgia, and REM is one of my favorite bands of all time. And for that evening, all I did was talk to other REM superfans, and we nerded out.
That's nice.
And I talked, and then so they played the whole album, which is like 35 minutes long, and then they came back out, and then they played all of these REM deep cuts, and I mean, deep, never saw the light of day on radio. Deep cuts.
Wow.
And I'm like flipping out because I'm hearing all this. Those are the conversations I want to be having, along with these.
Right.
These are important
It's so
conversations
true.
we're having too.
Yeah, but you're hitting a good point, because I always say that if we were living
like you have what's
in
your
a,
nerdy thing?
well, I
You
talk
must
about
have a
like
nerdy
animal rescue, and that's what I do in
That's
my
not
spare
nerdy.
time.
That's being a humanitarian. But I'm
I
like,
love it.
is there
though,
a show
yeah.
that you love? You know, like there's Doctor Who people, and there's Star Trek people, and there's Walking Dead people.
Well, I like
and,
the game. I like Game of Thrones, of course, like everybody
Great.
else. But
But
yeah.
like you could go and talk to somebody about Game of Thrones and
Yeah.
get super nerdy about it and get into the weeds and be
right.
full of
If-
joy.
If
talking
this
about
was
it, right?
a functioning society, and I always say on my show,
Well, you
if
can
we
still
were,
do that, though. That's my
Yeah,
point. That's
right,
my point.
but I
Like, you
mean,
can still do that, and
I
that's
don't
part
know.
of your self care.
True.
That needs to be part of your self care. Is being able to talk
I
about
play
stuff
games.
that isn't this.
I play a Game of Thrones game. I'm on a team, international team that
See,
people
we're
who watch
we're
my
learning
podcast
stuff
know
about
this.
Devlin.
I know, it's kind of nerdy. I
Well,
always
that's
have
great,
this
though.
game like right next to me, and here it is in my podcast.
That's awesome. See, I love that. I love that. Just like I love fandoms. I love fandoms for music. Like I'm a Swiftie over 50. I love I could talk to you about Taylor Swift for a straight hour and not even look at the clock. But also REM, but also Foo Fighters, but also just music in general.
Yeah.
Alternative. But then I was raised, my parents always had CBS FM playing in the car when I was growing up. So I grew up listening to oldies and stuff like that. And look at the smile on my face. I'd rather talk about this in politics. Tonight
Right.
I have my Low Bar Chorale, and we're doing an all Elliott Smith show with a female string quartet.
Wow, that
I
sounds
would
amazing.
Like I would much rather talk about that. But the
Right?
kids in the chat,
What are they saying?
ask, I don't know. We have about
What are
20
the
minutes.
kids
What do the
doing?
kids in the
We
chat
do.
want to talk to? I don't know.
Well, you know, I want to
invited
bring
them up.
something up. Can I,
What?
besides, well, I know
Absolutely.
the one thing I wanted to talk about is something that I came across on one of my favorite pastimes, which is the leopards eating my face.
Oh, yeah.
Where the heck is it? This person who, this is actually on Facepalm. Let me see if I could show you my screen.
Well, then it's really good.
Yeah.
You don't think you can wait? I don't think I can enjoy anything with a cultist. No, I don't mean the MAGA cultist. I just mean anybody who's like into a fandom.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. MAGA is excluded. That's not. We're not. I'm not a cult because I go to Low Bar Corral. We're not a cult. We do have T-shirts and hats though. But anyway, the daughter of a United Healthcare finance director was diagnosed with leukemia, so he started a GoFundMe naturally.
Can you believe this?
There's some disconnect there.
I mean, hello, friends. We are devastated to share the news about our daughter, Emma, who has been diagnosed with a rare type of leukemia. In the comments, I will link to her GoFundMe page, which contains her story. We're thankful for the love and support we continue to receive during this incredibly difficult time. I mean, like, but missing the point. Talk about what a disgrace. What an effing disgrace.
My goodness.
Right?
And how much does he make a year, and what does his health care look like?
He
must have amazing insurance.
Right. And I was looking at some comments on different pages on a Threads, if somebody posted it on Threads, and there were people that were saying, oh, have a heart. You know how expensive it is to deal with a catastrophic medical diagnosis? Have a heart. Talk about missing the point completely.
Oh my God.
Other country, no people in any other country have to deal with this shit. And the fact, it's like the American for-profit health insurance racket is twice as expensive as the next most expensive system, bankrupts millions, needlessly kills thousands every year, leaves millions out, and consistently ranks dead last in all positive measures. But how much do you have to hate yourself to continue to support that kind of system? And it goes to show me, that's what's so heartbreaking, that the American people are so propagandized and so divided to think that that is all they deserve. You know what I mean? Like, it's Stockholm syndrome. And that's why the Republicans are like, oh, we have the best system on earth. No, we don't. We have the best anything if you're rich. But if you're the finance director of United Healthcare and you got to put up a GoFundMe for your medical, I mean, no other country.
No.
Do they have to worry about that? And it's a disgrace.
It's not. I don't even think it is that he has to worry about it. It's that he feels like he shouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket.
True.
He feels in his position, he's so entitled that he's so out of touch with reality. And it's an obtuse take because you're literally in the system that denies health care to people. And you know, if they have a pre-existing condition or they have a chronic condition or they're terminal or whatever, you have ended coverage for people who are about to go into surgery, moments before.
Yeah. What about that surgeon on the phone fighting while they have the guy on the table?
if you're that corporation, I don't really care what your salary is. Just to save face, you can share that you're going through a family struggle in social media, and that's what it's for. And if people offer to help, that's fine. Right. But for you to be in such a privileged position to ask other people who are not as well off as you to ask them for money to help you,
and to be part of that system now,
that's crazy. Like, I don't know, a billionaire asking people to pay money to use his social media site because he doesn't need the money. Yep, exactly. So anyway, certainly your return on investment isn't anything either, unless you're
right. Well, and that's why I mean, Musk bought his social media platform that he ruined because somebody said something about trans people, and he wanted to be able to bash trans people, and he was like, well,
because his daughter is transgender.
Yes, that's it. And also one of his exes didn't they go off with a trans
I believe
with
so.
Chelsea Manning? Yes, something like that.
So.
Yes, he's got a lot of issues.
I saw a tweet from him the other day, and I'm not sure exactly when it was from, but it was pretty recent, and he talked about that his son Xavier died. And it was as a result of the woke mind virus. And he was actually talking, talking about his daughter.
What a piece of shit.
His transgender daughter, who is called Vivian. So not only did he lie, he did multiple transphobic things. He dead named her and then falsely said that she died.
Oh, these people.
She is alive and well and telling the truth about him.
Right.
So that is why he did it. It's
That's
disgusting.
how horrible he is. Imagine being a billionaire. Right. Sorry, go ahead.
There's no such thing as a woke mind virus.
No.
You know, that, and there's no red pill. No one has been red pilled.
And what is the woke mind virus? Being a decent person? Being good to people? Being respectful?
I know. It's just another example of them appropriating something from black culture and ruining it.
That's what it is.
Mediocre
that's
white
exactly.
men do.
100%. 100%. Yep.
Historically, it's it's a recurring theme because they keep doing it. You know, and it was like, don't talk about white men like you talk about white men like that. Why not? White men are, men are the cause of all of the issues on the planet. Maybe not white because we're talking about other countries with ethnicity where they caused wars over there. But here in this country, every issue, and you and I have talked about this before, every issue in this country can be traced back to a white man, period. That's just true.
Like everyone in that chat. True. Everyone in that signal chat.
Except for the women. Except for the women, which I guarantee they're going to find a way to scapegoat the two women in that chat for it getting out.
Probably.
They'll especially Tulsi, because she's slightly ethnic.
She might get fired, maybe. She might take the...
They should all get fired.
Well, of course, but they won't.
If any of us made such a mistake, we would all be fired.
We'd be in prison.
Also,
we'd be stripped of our clearance. And
of course we would. Well,
of course.
I mean... If we started with the comparisons, it would make us all insane, but because we'd all be in prison together. But I mean, but basically, every single one of them was a controversial appointment. Every single one of them was already set up for failure. It was only a matter of time before there was a huge breach of a security breach like this.
They don't know what they're doing.
Only a matter of time, right? Because they're completely incompetent. So, but part of this kind of goes back to what Hal was talking about when he said, when Trump appoints people to stuff, he's basically setting them up to fail. Mostly women. He'll put like Susie Wiles and like Tulsi Gabbard and Linda McMahon at the education department, sets them up so when it fails, he can blame a woman for his failure rather than himself, like Caroline as press secretary. But in this case, this is another example where he can just say, well, he came highly recommended. A lot of people say he was the best choice, and then he can push them out. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what he does. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But and remember the revolving door on his former press secretaries.
Yeah. And then everybody sucks, right? They all suck.
Chiefs of staff. He never kept the same person in the same role for his entire first administration. There's a revolving door on the Oval Office. And it's whoever is kissing up to him the best is who has the job at the time. And so this was the first round, and they're all incompetent, and they've all now embarrassed him, and he can't stand to be embarrassed, so he can call it a glitch. He can say it was a mistake because he doesn't understand how it works, but they have now all embarrassed him. So now they all have to go, and these were probably never his first choices, because he's waiting to put someone even worse in the wing. Oh, please, you don't know how incompetent Marco Rubio is? Yes, you did.
Don't you think, like, even Marco Rubio, they give him so much credence, like, at least he's halfway normal. No, he's not.
No,
he should have been like, hey, guys, this is illegal. We shouldn't be in the signal group having and discussing classified information and putting our soldiers at risk. Right? We shouldn't.
No, but they don't care about that. They want our soldiers at risk, right? Because Trump has been embarrassed repeatedly with the Cadet Bone Spurs nickname and the suckers and losers story that MAGA doesn't want to ever admit it's real. Because the problem is there are so many people. No, it isn't. MAGA. And the thing is, there are so many MAGA veterans. There are veterans in MAGA, and I don't understand that. No. It negates their service when they are held sway by a traitor to the United States who is fine with other people dying for America but has no sense of bravery and cannot be selfless. And the military, it's just all part of it. That's why he bullies them. Because anybody who makes him feel bad about himself, and Hal and I spent a lot of time on this topic yesterday, by the way. It's like why they act like this and why they relate to Hitler for writing Mein Kampf and everything.
Who? Oh, you mean the leadership or maggots? Just maggots in general.
Okay. Because of and why they find themselves relating to a Hitlery book called Mein Kampf, because it's my struggle. It happened to me. It's that narcissistic me, and then that me. The other person's like, "Hey, wait, that happened to me too. Oh, that's me. That's also me. I'm not allowed to be racist.
It is
People
the
get mad at me
Jews
for being racist." And now we're a cult of, oh, the whole world is against us because we hate them. So what?
Right.
So it's, and whatever draws you into a cult because you can't think for yourself, or you're a bully, or no one accepts you, or you see your hate mirrored back by these people. You're like, okay, well, I'm safe over there. Well, whatever it is, it's still bad.
They get their identity from it. That's why it's going to be hard to break them from it, because they
exactly.
It is talk about a mind virus. They're all
that's what it is. The projection.
They don't want to because they get their identity from it, and of course, Republicans are, and conservatives are they're a mix. They have those large amygdalas or whatever, fear centers. So they're very cowardly. And of course, they talk about the rugged individual, but just try being a rugged individual in the Republican Party, and they will drum you the F out of there. Who's
they are
rugged?
So thin-skinned.
Like anyone who's trans, they have more courage than the entire maggot cult in itself, because they have the courage to live their lives in spite of the hate. But if anyone tried to do that in a maggot in the maggot community, they would be completely ostracized immediately.
And what they don't understand is what a small segment of the population the trans community is. They're not a threat to anybody. They're not a threat,
of course, not
to anyone. The MAGA cult mentality is the biggest threat.
Of course.
That you're the threat, and they don't want to see themselves as a threat either. But it's the same bullying tactics over and over again. Mm-hmm. There's some guy, I invited a MAGA actually to come hang out in the chat. I don't know if he did or he didn't, because he was on my chat.
I didn't see him.
I don't know if he did or he did. I know I invited him on Twitter. I was like, hey, I'm going live on my podcast in 10 minutes. If you're so brave, come on over.
Are they
I don't
here?
know if he's here or not. I have no idea.
What's his name?
Eagle Eye Flyer.
All right.
He said I was like annoying and blah blah.
That you were annoying? What?
I'm one of the whiny, quote unquote, whiniest liberals or some bullshit like that.
Why was he saying that? What were you whining about?
It was under a tweet about my book. So my pinned tweet right now is about my book. And so there's the MAGA mean girl who came for me, and then under her is this guy. He's like, well, she's one of the most annoying whiny blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, and give us an example. They have none, of course.
I'm like, well, you voted for a rapist. And they're like,
a convicted
you just
felon.
lie. And so then, and so then I shared my dramatic reading of the Epstein file excerpt, which I've shared repeatedly.
I love it.
And he's like, oh, so you got Robert De Niro to read some fake AI thing. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's my voice, fucko. And then that's real.
You mother.
Yes, I have a deep voice.
You're fine. Your voice is great.
It makes our low harmony even richer when we sing at low bar chorale for I am a contralto. Anyway, get bent is my point, because it's attacking the messenger, attacking the questioner instead of addressing the issue, which is, y'all were crying about the release of the Epstein files. Here's the part of the Epstein files that was declassified last year, and nobody's talking about it because Pam Bondi doesn't want you to. But this is real, whether you like it or not. He raped a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. It's all there. And if you don't like me reading it, then ask your mom to come down to the basement and read it to you instead.
Well, they don't believe it. That's why Trump
They don't want to believe it.
Right. That's why he
Or they do, but they can't admit it.
Well, the whole Lugan press, that's why it's fascinating just how impervious to facts these people are. But it's why,
like, don't you remember him being best friends with Jeffrey Epstein?
Right. But they're going to have to feel the pain. This is what we were talking about last week, and I keep pondering this as well about, I know that good people, if Chuck Schumer had shut down the government, he's like, it would have been horrible. They would have kept it closed for 6 months and they would never have opened it. Let them try. Let them fucking try.
Exactly.
They could not.
Wait a minute.
They couldn't get away with it.
I'm seeing something in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Carl says in all caps, the Supreme Court may vacate Trump's presidential immunity.
What? Oh, goody.
Is that real, or is that something that just Carl wants to happen?
Let me look this up here.
Is that a news? Is that a breaking news story, Carl?
Is this new breaking news?
Is that a real thing, or is that something they could do that we should be asking for?
Right.
Because he never should have had it in the first place. And I thought it was interesting that Joe Biden didn't take advantage of any of that.
I know.
But
another missed opportunity,
but,
of course.
I mean, that would be a delight, because if the Supreme Court decided to do that, a court can reverse a decision. You can reverse
after the fact.
Maybe you can reverse a decision if there's legal.
I guess
there's a legal court. I'm not a lawyer, but my brother
I
is,
don't see anything unless what are they saying? Because I asked the AI.
He just said may vacate.
Right.
So
I asked the
that's
AI.
Something they could do.
Well, it says there's no recent information suggesting that the Supreme Court is considering blah 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 blah.
Well, it would be cruel to tease us like that,
Carl. I know. Damn.
But the point being, I don't see why they couldn't reverse a decision, especially if somebody came to them and proved it to be unconstitutional.
Yeah, because it does have violate. To be a case, though, wouldn't there? Right?
Well, what you could do is you could bring a case against Donald Trump to be argued that
you would have to
that he's endangering the lives of American citizens while he's violating our constitutional rights. Okay, we don't have immunity. So by him violating our constitutional rights is something that he shouldn't be allowed to do as a sitting president. And so that could be something that someone could bring a case against him.
They would have to bring
You're violating my constitutional rights.
Right.
That's, this should be, I don't know.
No, you're right. That's what that would have to happen.
Carl says, I meant Judge Robert is getting too much from Trump.
Too much what?
Too much power.
Oh.
Too much power or too much pushback?
That. Well, that's why they took that case to begin with. That's why, when they took it, people were like, well, this is a no-brainer. Why did they even take it? Yeah, because the other lower courts were like, no, presidents, of course, are not above the law. And then the Supreme Court reached in with their corrupt goddamn intent, and they gave, this con man immunity, which Biden also had too. And never used it.
But he wasn't going to take advantage of it. And it's also interesting because after getting that immunity, now his cult has turned on Amy Coney Barrett and are calling her a DEI hire, which is interesting. So as we are coming up on the end of the show, there's some points we need to make, which is, first of all, be back here on Thursday, same Tower time, same Tower channel. Make sure you're following us on the socials. Make sure you're signed up for our Substacks as well as the Political Voices Substack. Also, we need a Democratic press secretary. Please contact your Democratic representatives and tell them that we need the truth out there every day. And also ask them to boost the special election. The special election that Democrats still aren't talking about. And Mike Waltz is the one who leaked, or got Jeffrey Goldberg in the chat to call us back to the top of the hour. So his seat is open in Florida because he's part of the cabinet now. And so his seat can be replaced by the Democrat, and so can Matt Gaetz.
We can win a majority.
Stefanik's in New York. Yeah. We can. If you are watching this and you're in Florida, please tell your friends about Josh Weil and Gay Valamont. If you're in New York, tell your friends about Blake Gandabine, because he is running for Elise Stefanik's seat, and he's the only Democrat going up. There are 9 MAGA candidates going up for that seat, and they should cancel
each other out, hopefully.
Right, and so what we're looking for is that we get those 3 seats, we get our majority back, and then we can start doing things like a 3rd Trump impeachment. Articles of impeachment can't go forward without a Democratic majority or a majority vote.
In the House,
which they won't get.
Exactly.
In the House first, and they won't get that without a Democratic majority, and we're so close. We're so close, and the mainstream media isn't talking about it, which is why we have to boost it. So
yes, that's right. They're not talking about it. No, and it's a disgrace.
It is a disgrace. And tomorrow you can catch me on Dean Obedella's Sirius XM Progress Show in the Bull Buster segment. And tomorrow joining us will also be Brian Karam. I love Brian Karam. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. Great. We'll be back here on Thursday, same time. We want you to be here with us. Same Tower time, same Tower channel. Make sure you're signed up for the Substack so that you never miss an episode. Join us in the chat. Invite your friends, including your MAGA friends, because we want to have a conversation with you every week, every episode. So keep it here and make sure you like and subscribe.
And read my, our Substack articles.
Absolutely.
And remember to use the term Department of gazillionaires embezzlement.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Everybody stay safe. Have some fun. Get out into the sunshine if the sun is shining where you are.
Save some cats.
Listen to some great music today. Buy my book. And we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, we will win. We're on the right side of history. Decency, dignity, democracy,
be a better human.
Humanity. We stick together. We win. Thank you guys for hanging out. And we will both be back here. Check out Tara tomorrow. And we will
check out Tara always.
Yes.
This way. This
That's
way, that way.
And we will see you on Thursday.
Bye.